Welcome back to another edition of I don't have a name yet. Whatever this
Describe in one word.
describe. Welcome back to describe in one word. Um, describe this show in one word. uh,
Lit.
hey, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. B. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm
Oh,
kidding.
dead
I'll relax.
ass. That's how we start. We dead ass starting it like that.
Okay, I'll relax a bit. So we normally do this on Tuesdays, which this go around it feels kind of weird considering they played on Thursday. I feel like talking about a game that happened 5 weeks ago. So let's just talk about the news. What's going on with this 49ers team going into these final two games? But first and foremost, hit that like button, subscribe, comment with us throughout the show because I'm going to be pinning it here and it creates great talking points and we can talk about, whatever's on your mind as well. It's not just about Jason and I. It's about all of you that's here joining with us. Jay, how you doing? How's Averly? How's life?
Really good, actually. Good day of potty training today. I thought that I was gonna have a nice day on Twitter today, but then people tried me, and you know what? I had a little bit of time today, so yeah, good day.
Yeah, because you were one of those guys that said Trey Lance was going to start week one, right?
Yeah, somebody tried me, and they were like, what was it? You were probably one of those people that said Trey Lance was gonna start. I had to dig up my tweet where it literally said, Jimmy Garoppolo starting week one. Hope this helps. So I don't like dunking on people, but stop playing with me,
Mhm.
man.
Yeah, you're wasting or way.
Appreciate that.
Whatever it is, because my guy just out here taking dubs. So, let's talk about what's going on here. Mitch Wishna I'm kidding, I'm kidding, I'm
Well,
kidding.
no.
Uh,
I do want to say this though. Mitch Wisnowski does have COVID, and I am concerned because he does have a newborn baby. So I don't want to make sure that that's lost. I know that
oh,
we make a lot of I know we make
that's
a lot of
true.
jokes about
Yep.
punting. Like, no, this is the real life always over football. So I'm not gonna make any jokes about that at all.
Got it. Hey, that I didn't even consider that factor. That's huge. That's huge. So definitely wishing the Wishnowski family nothing but love, well wishes. Hopefully he gets over it soon. Hopefully it was a false positive. That would be huge in the development for his family. Um, but let's talk about what's going on here with this 49ers team. The Jimmy era seems like it's coming to an end. I don't expect him to make another start for the 49ers, considering Drew Brees missed 5 games last year for the Saints. And I think they even had a bye week mixed in. So that's about 6 weeks in total. Russell Wilson missed a bunch of time for the Seahawks. And he's a guy that you can't take off the football field despite the cringiness that he may post throughout social media. And now Jimmy Garoppolo seems like he's just done at this point, whether this team makes the playoffs or not. And even if does Trey Lance does get a wild card win, you're sticking with the rookie who got you that wild card win. So it's just really an impossible situation to see Jimmy Garoppolo starting back for the 49ers, whether you like him, whether you hate him, or whether you're indifferent. That's just the ultimate reality of this situation. He's obviously been a guy who's dealt with injuries throughout his career. That's kind of why Shanahan said they went ahead and made a move at the quarterback position this past draft. And now it seems like that's ultimately what's going to end his 49ers tenure. So if it's more than one word, I understand because it's a bag of mixed emotions here, but describe in one word, Jimmy G era ends due to injury.
Unfortunate. If you wanted to see the switch made, that's fine. I'm not gonna tell you how to feel about that. But you never wanted to see it under these circumstances. And I'm not gonna,
Mhm.
again, I'm not putting on the tinfoil hat of is he injured, is he not? If they say he's injured, he's injured. Just gonna go with that. It's fine. Maybe I'm blindly, following. That's fine. I'm just tired of trying to figure out what's going on. This season has been 10 years off of my life in terms of everything that's happened from January all the way through. But
Mhm.
it's unfortunate. You never want to see that happen. We did your podcast last night on
Yeah.
Niners Nation, which thank you again. It was a great show.
Oh,
You and Rob. It was really dope to be on that platform because Niners Nation is such a big platform and it's something that I never could have ever seen myself doing a few years ago when I started doing this. But Rob asked me how I would look at how I looked at the Jimmy Garoppolo era. And, I posted what I said because he transcribed it and put it in an article. And I still said that I have fond memories of it, right?
Mhm.
2017, the 49ers get rejuvenated. No matter how you feel about it in those 5 games, you start to feel like you have your guy for the first time in a long time. And the 49ers have been looking for their guy since Steve Young. That's how long. That's how long. You kind of feel like you have your guy. 2018, unfortunately, the injury happens. 2019 was a dream season until it ended the way that it did, and it wasn't so much a dream. But that's a season that I will always remember. Always. I went to the first game in Tampa. I was in Miami for the Super Bowl, but I had traveled to many games. That was such a fun year. Then 2020 happens, obviously, what's going on in the world, and he gets injured again. And then obviously where we're at right now. So it's been an up and down thing. And that's the Jimmy Garoppolo experience when he plays football. Up and down, roller coaster. But at the same time, you can say all of those things while still remembering what he brought to the team and kind of rejuvenated his fan base and gave them a little bit something to cheer about, especially in 2017, and then in 2019 was such a fun season. It just didn't end the right way. But yeah, it's just unfortunate, man. Like if you wanted to see, if Kyle Shanahan went to the podium and said, Trey Lance is starting over Jimmy Garoppolo and both are healthy, then you feel much better about this. It should never come at the expense of an injury. But, I know how I think that the only thing that's really strange is just the timing of everything. The game, the tweet, the mysteriousness of the injury, how the injury got leaked, all of that is fishy. Not the injury itself, because I believe it did happen.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say it's irritating. The way it's coming to an end like this, because now what Sean said here is a legit question. With an injury destination at the end of this year, how does Jimmy affect our team draft wise and financially? Like, what happens then? Like, Jimmy was playing to a point where the 49ers could have got a third round pick out of him, possibly a fourth round pick, second round, who knows? As well as financially, like, is there something within the clause to I don't really know. So I'm gonna have to reach out to people that are smarter than me to go ahead and answer that. And with this going on, it's just how it happened. It's just really irritating because he's always going to get that rep as the 49ers QB. I've I'm someone who's tried to, ride the highs with Jimmy Garoppolo, but then evaluate the lows. So now that it's coming down to an injury rather than not play, not Trey Lance just balling out and winning the job from Jimmy Garoppolo, it's due to injury. And I just find that really irritating because now you're gonna have people fighting online. Oh, Jimmy's always been this guy, or Trey Lance deserved, he should have had this job a long time ago. And it's just I like everything to be collective, united, thoughtful, not injury. And that's the narrative that we're going to go through his entire career as a 49er quarterback. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, despite the other guys being CJ Beathard, despite them being Brian Hoyer, Nick Mullins, when Jimmy was on the field, there was a feeling of a chance to win. You went into multiple weeks feeling like you were going to possibly win that game. When those other guys, career backups, guys who could possibly have my career instead of being an NFL quarterback, those guys in there, you felt just don't lose this for us. Just don't lose it. At a point, you can feel that way with Jimmy Garoppolo, but you don't feel that way going into an Atlanta Falcons game. You don't feel that going into a Jacksonville Jaguars game. You felt that more so in the bigger ones like the Tennessee Titans, which is fine. But with the career backups,
Oh, John
you
Madden died
oh man, I don't want to hear that.
right before his documentary was supposed to drop. Wow.
No,
Man,
no,
that's a
no,
bummer. All
no.
right.
I
I'm
don't want
sorry.
to hear that,
I'm
man.
sorry.
That's like legit childhood, life, adult life. Like I felt like the older he got and the condition you saw him in, you knew it was coming. You just didn't want it to happen. You hoped he was a fictional character that lasted through your whole
Damn.
entire lifetime. That's what it felt like with John Madden. Um,
Damn.
it's hopefully the name lives forever through the video game. Hopefully he gets implemented a little more into the video game to where younger generations understand why it's called Madden, who John Madden is, what he brought to the game. Maybe to a point where you load the game and it's his beautiful voice, breaking down a play or doing something within you could put there in the video game so that it doesn't just get lost in translation of being just a video game. Because it, to me, playing Madden is much more than just being a video game. To me, that's like childhood, that's life, that's John Madden. I miss hearing his voice during Monday Night Football games. It's a
Yeah,
legend.
that sucks, man. And he was about to have a documentary on. I think it just came out, or it's about to, about his life and everything as well too. It's just a shame. But let's get back on track real quick. So, Leo, like a little bit that you were talking about, I kind of wanted to talk about something too. I'm very old, Leo, right?
Hmm.
Very much older than you are, right? I've been through this
Ah, come
quarter.
on,
I've
stop
been
the
through this
cap.
quarterback. I've been through this quarterback controversy
Very
thing,
much older.
and I remember. I'm old enough to remember the Joe to Steve transition. And here's what I want to point out about this. My father, who put me on game with the 49ers, right? Joe was his guy. And when Joe was getting moved out for Steve Young, my father hated it. My father hated it. Oh, this guy will never be as good as Joe. What the hell are they thinking? You got to stick with the guy who's the winner. And I
Hmm.
remember hearing those things, right? There was obviously not Twitter back then, but
Yeah.
I remember that conversation, right? And then
Hmm.
I remember watching games with my dad, in 1982 when Steve took over largely, 49ers went 14-2. Every year, Steve was either the MVP, perfect passer rating, everything. My father started to change his tune. Then fast forward years later, the Alex Smith, Colin Kaepernick thing, right? And you definitely old enough for that, right? How can you move on from Alex Smith and look at what Harbaugh's been getting out of him, and you're just moving on for 49ers come this close to winning? Then obviously that goes away. I guess my point is this: these moves in terms of from quarterback to quarterback, they're never easy, and there's always going to be sides that are going to be rigid in their stances, right? Like
Right.
the people who remember Joe for the 4 Super Bowls, they weren't trying to let that go. And they didn't want to move on to Steve Young, even if he was the younger, dynamic guy. Obviously, Jimmy Garoppolo isn't to the extent of a winner that Joe is. He never won a Super Bowl as a starter. Certainly didn't win one as a 49er. But it's always weird when these things happen. And now that I'm seeing what's happening on Twitter, you never had Twitter back then, right? And I wasn't on Twitter when this happened, with Colin and Alex. So it's just crazy to me, the parallels sometimes when you think about it. My father not wanting to move on from Joe because he's been established for the young, dynamic guy. And then he sees the vision and it starts to happen. And then you start to realize, oh man, I was wrong. But I remember vividly my father being very upset about the 49ers moving on from Joe. That's crazy, man. It's crazy, man.
I don't know who the hell this guy is, but this makes absolute no sense. You got your attention. There it is. Now you can move on with your day. Dumb and Dumber. Come on, man. Come on, man. Only five Super Bowls combined. No big deal or anything. But yeah, you. I want to say you're much older than I am, but the how you broke that down and the visualization that you gave with it, man, dude. How old are? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, like it was great. I think that's a beautiful connection to make. More so than the Alex Smith to Colin Kaepernick connection, because Kaepernick wasn't someone that I invested high. I guess been milking to be the guy. He was a second round pick. A lot of second round picks, are never a franchise guy or get handed the franchise keys. You knew that was happening with Steve Young, and you knew that was happening with Trey Lance. So that's a better comparison to make than the whole 2012. But we could talk about 2012 later on.
But can you
Um,
just read some Sunshine Goods super chat real quick? We had it up there, and I was
oh
just
yeah, we
rambling
had
about.
we had it up.
I was
It
rambling
was
about me in the '90s.
it was hey, that was a good times, man. Good times.
Great times.
Outside the bodega. Oh, never mind. So Matthew Stafford and Colt McCoy played through the same UCL thumb injury last year. Jimmy said he would play. He said it after the diagnosis.
We'll see.
Yeah. It to
Um, I,
me,
we're gonna find out
it,
tomorrow.
yeah, to me, it doesn't seem like that's what it is. The picture that's getting painted when you have Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport saying that, okay, it's Trey Lance's job or Trey Lance is taking over, to me, that means that's getting transmitted from Don Yee, which is Jimmy's agent, or someone within close to Jimmy. That's getting transmitted to allowing those big names to say that about Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo, that Trey Lance is the expected starter, or else you would their tweet would be, don't roll out Jimmy for Sunday. Don't, Jimmy is may be on track to play, but that's not the translation that they're giving. So I'm just reading the picture that they're painting for me on what this is going to look like, and based off the picture that they're painting, Trey Lance is going to go ahead and start Sunday. I'm not going to write that in stone. I'm not going to say bet your life savings on it, but I'm just, reading what's there for me.
Joke's on you. I don't have life savings. No, I mean, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I think that when you hear Kyle Shanahan say, "Oh, it's a sprain," and this is what happens, and then that comes out about bone chip and UCL
Yeah.
ligament, that certainly makes it sound more significant, even if that was the initial diagnosis. So now I'm going to put
Mhm.
my conspiracy theory hat on. That makes it seem like there's an out to say, hey, he can't play. Did you hear bone chip, this, and this, And then I believe that Drew Brees had the same injury or very something similar, and he missed like 5 weeks.
Yeah.
So we're going to find
6 if
out.
you count the bye.
Right. So we're going to find out. We'll find out tomorrow. Let's see what they're saying. Again, don't write it in stone. I'm going to say that I think he's going to play. But I guess, they're leaving a window open for it, but I just wouldn't count on it at this point. I hope that's the best way I can explain it.
Yeah, same. I get it, but I just don't see it happening at this point. Or else the dialogue would be much more differently worded than it currently is. Um, it, like I said, it's just very unfortunate. It's very irritating that it ends this way, because at the end of the day, this this franchise changed a bit where they were viewed at by the media since Jimmy Garoppolo took over as the quarterback. They got viewed very differently. Whether it's Shanahan had a competent quarterback compared to career backup quarterbacks, like that's a different discussion. But as far as Jimmy Garoppolo being in there, this team has been viewed completely different from the media. They've been viewed as playoff contenders compared to other guys being in there. And I will always appreciate that, because like Jason said, I am younger. I was born in 1993. This team since what, 2002 have stunk. We had the 3 years with Harbaugh, and that's about it. 1 year with Shannon. So 4 years since 2002.
That's not
Ever
what I
since
that's not
then,
what I remember as a kid.
yeah, see, like, come on, like my dad was able to grow up with Joe Montana and Steve Young, same as your dad, as you alluded to. And when my dad was my age, 49ers had 5 Super Bowl championships. He was able to experience all of them.
Damn it.
I was alive for one. Alive for one.
What, like a year?
I Yeah, I have no idea what was going on or anything. I was probably sleeping through the whole entire game.
Not me.
So,
I was in a bar, but I wasn't old enough to drink.
oh well, yeah. Damn you! Oh, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No, no, no. I was 9. The year that happened, 9 or 10, I believe. But yeah, I was with my father in the Bronx at a bar for a place that sponsored his football team, and they literally let us in there because we were the only 49ers fans. Everybody else was just there to enjoy the Super Bowl. Like, legit, we were the only 49er fans. And yeah, I remember it. I remember it vividly because I remember beating the Dallas Cowboys. Well, not me, the 49ers. I remember winning that game. And, as a kid, you get a little hyped up, but you're like, yeah, man, this game's over. The Super Bowl was the week before. And Dion showed up and it turned the tide, and the 49ers dumped a bunch of water on the other side of Dallas, psychological warfare, playing well. I loved it. They had the pick six early in the game, Eric Davis. And I remember saying to my dad, I was like, well, the Chargers are screwed. They're done. Like, this is it. They're finished. Like, they have no shot. And yeah, it was it
Thanks,
was the, it
Javi.
was the easiest game I ever watched. Yeah, thanks a lot, Javi.
I'm not crying. You're crying.
I am crying.
Um, yeah. So, what? Let's see. See, I remember. I probably hold on to that Super Bowl much more than I should, because I grew up in San Diego, and that Super Bowl was against the Chargers. So I've rewatched that multiple times. Even they even played smack the Chargers in the regular season as well. So that's why Deion Sanders knew that they were going to smack them in the Super Bowl once again, because they just didn't have the guys that compete with the guys that the 49ers had in 94. So um, yeah, I've definitely rewatched that a ton more than I should have, because I had to use it in constant trash talk here in San Diego. And it was also Steve Young and Jerry Rice was big pieces to that Super Bowl team. And I was, I was old enough and they were still on the team. I was 8, 10 years old at that time. So, I was running around playing catch, throwing the football and imitating to be Jerry Rice. Even after he left the 49ers, I still wanted to be Jerry Rice on the playground.
I still want to be Jerry Rice
I want to be Jerry Rice now. Goatfield.
now.
Have you seen the tracksuits of the Goatfield that he had out there with Trey Lance?
Yeah, I just want to know. I just want to know what it's
Dude.
like to be able to be on the sidelines, have everybody love you. But yeah, look, enough with the down memory lane stuff, right? Like I get it. Like, but the parallel I was trying to make is these quarterback controversies and whatever it is, and or wanted to go with the younger guys. It's so funny that all this is happening, and now during my time of content creation, when I can vividly remember the Montana to Young thing
Yep.
with my father and him being very upset with them even hinting at the idea of moving on from Joe Montana. Crazy.
Yeah, it's what a time to be alive, as
Hmm.
Shakespeare once said.
Hmm.
Um, let's talk about managing of the situation. Did the 49ers mismanage the handling of this situation? Because obviously Shanahan states that he knew Jimmy Garoppolo's thumb was messed up, that he thought he got jammed. Uh, Kyle Juszczyk said, yeah, Jimmy told him throughout the game. And now I think a lot of us kind of just relaxed from the situation, looked at when it could have possibly happened. I think Matt Mayoko tweet or put it on Instagram when he got sacked in the second quarter with about 3 minutes left. And you could see, I think it was Autry basically just like rip Garoppolo's thumb apart
And
when he
body
was trying
slam
to,
him. But
and body
no
slammed
call
him.
and no call for that. But Matt Ryan was allowed to get away with that, and it cost the 49ers a touchdown. But sorry.
It's definitely it's stupid. It's stupid. I feel like some of those calls, it's. I'm just
So
gonna stop
subjective.
there. I'm
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Mhm.
just stop there. Um, but it just you knew that was going on. You saw what happened with this play. Highly inaccurate. More duck like throws. Uh, Yet you had a piece there in your third overall pick, knowing Jimmy Garoppolo was injured on his throwing hand. Even besides the point, even if you trusted Jimmy, which he looked like he was managing okay at that point, just despite everything that happened. Um, it wasn't in the post game report. Like we didn't. It's like if Shanahan knew Rappaport was going to blow this out, or if somebody knew that Rappaport was going to say this out, so he just kind of. Did you read or listen to his report on yesterday? He just kind of just
Uh,
went through it fast. Went through it fast. Jimmy Garoppolo, yep, thumb, boom.
yep.
Um, and he just tried to like see if he could get it off, and do I think, or even after the game, you knew the thumb was jacked up and you don't give him medical attention? Like he's going to the presser with, with nothing on his thumb, nothing, like no medical attention, nothing. Um, to me, I just find the whole situation weird. Am I trying to put on a big brain and say the injury? No, I think the injury did happen, but I just think that it was a little just kind of taken for granted. Like, oh, okay, you're good. All right, throw some dirt on it. Like, move forward
Yeah.
rather than trying to, do something and see how you can enhance possibly his play in that game, in a crucial game, in a possible where the 49ers don't necessarily have to win out to get a playoff spot if they would have just came through on Thursday.
Yeah, and I think that that's the way that kind of Shanahan was looking at it, is that he's like, okay, let me find a way to get through this game with a win, because obviously now the 49ers need things to break their way, and the road's a little bit tougher. So I'm not going to, argue with anybody who thinks that he mismanaged it. That's fine. I'm going to say this, though, for anybody who's ever played any sort of sport, adrenaline is a very real thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I played basketball my entire life. And depending on the severity of how you rolled your ankle, anybody who's played ball, what do? You tie your sneaker a little bit tighter
Yeah.
and you just keep going. And then that thing swells like a balloon after you have all the adrenaline off, provided you didn't destroy your ankle, right? Like you can't just go out there and play. Like if you roll your ankle, it's gonna swell. You can still you can still tie it up and play. I've done it millions of times playing ball, So, the adrenaline thing is real, right? And after the game, I know a lot of people are pointing to, well, can he turn the bottle or anything like that? Well, that adrenaline is probably still working right then at that moment,
Mhm.
And I can't speculate. I'm not a doctor. I'm not here to do all that. So it's just, I don't know if it's mismanaged, but I think that a lot of what was going on before the injury was already happening in terms of his throws. Like he missed use check before he hurt his thumb. That's not the same thing, right? Like he already missed
Yeah.
him, and he threw a touchdown at the end of the game to tie the game. And if we, again, I don't want to dive back into this Titans game, but if the 49ers go up 21-0 before Jimmy Garoppolo gets injured, they probably win it. Oh no, you don't. Actually, I'd love to play, man. Again, I haven't played. No, actually, the last time I played, I was out in when I was out there for the Packers game. It was me, KP, and Jordan. That was a lot of fun, man. It was really good to hoop again. But realistically, adrenaline is a real thing. Anybody who's
Mhm.
ever played sports knows that. Like I had a friend who
Yep.
played high school football. He played an entire game on a torn ACL. An entire game. He tore his ACL. The first play of the game, kept playing.
So, Bay Area fans, Klay Thompson tore his ACL, went in the finals, went back down the court and started doing jumping jacks on a torn ACL, running up and down. Adrenaline's a real thing.
For sure. And I don't know how long it lasted after the game. Didn't certainly look like that. People have been posting the video, of him twisting the bottle cap. I'm not going to speculate on whether you could, depending on the injury. It's just, again, Kyle said it was a sprain. Then you hear from Rappaport and Schefter that it's a tear and a chip bone. And it's like, man, why is it that Kyle and them can be on the same page? A sprain to me says, oh, he'll have a chance. Maybe they can manage it, give him a shot. He can do it. That other stuff kind of screams to me that that's far more severe. So it's like, again, as long as Kyle Shanahan is the one giving out the injuries, usually they either underestimate them or are overly optimistic. Either way, I think that those are both the best way to put it, right? Like Kyle will come to the podium and say, yeah, this person, he should be out for 1 to 2 days. 2 days later, you find out he's out for the year. Is that being forthcoming? Is that straight up lying? Is that not having information? I don't know. And I think that is a lot of people's frustrations when it comes to what's going on with this. But mismanaged, I don't know. I think that, again, adrenaline is a real thing. And I think that he thought he was going to be able to just do, whatever he could in terms to win that game because they still were that close even on that injured finger.
Since they were aware, I just hope in that situation that they offered Jimmy a glove on his throwing hand to have a little more grip, or offered some type of tape job for to it's basically like tying up your sneaker when you twist your ankle. It's just to apply that pressure there on your thumb to not make it feel as jacked up as it is. I just hope that was offered, because if not, I just find it very strange that something wasn't done in that situation. Basically, I'm going to use that analogy. Nobody tied up his sneaker on his thumb, which I just think it's maybe a little petty for me to say. I completely get that. I'll be all team petty hours, as I could possibly be. My wife knows that personally, so it's just
Whoa.
don't make that face. Don't make that
Whoa.
face. Don't make that face. But yeah, it's just it's just unfortunate. Like I said, this whole thing, it's just unfortunate that Trey's gonna get 2 games and then boom, get slapped in the face with NFL playoffs. Welcome to the league.
Yep. I mean, is what it is. So
Let's
again,
talk about that.
Go ahead.
I've been, more so playoffs is happening, playoffs is happening, playoffs is happening. But Jimmy Garoppolo was a manager. He's someone who drove the car. Like I said multiple times, he's someone that at quarterback you believe they're going to demolish the Falcons and the Jaguars. The other guys that have been in replace of Jimmy, you're not sure if they were even going to beat the Jaguars or the Falcons. So now are the 49ers in jeopardy of missing the postseason?
They're in jeopardy, but it's not a big, a big
Lead?
number. Yeah, like they aren't technically in jeopardy, right? Like there is a scenario that plays out where the 49ers don't make it. The 49ers just have to pray to God that the Saints run Ian Book back out there again next week and against the Panthers, because if the 49ers take care of business against the Texans and they lose, they're in. That's it. The Eagles, they have a easier path, I believe, but I think that Dallas, it depends on what Dallas is doing week 18. Like if
Yep.
Dallas comes out and they play everybody, then I think they're going to smoke the Eagles. But if they don't and they rest everybody, then the Eagles have a way to 2 games. So the Saints realistically are the ones who are in jeopardy in terms of like falling out of this with the higher chance. But if the Panthers can come through, Sam Darnold starts, maybe they get some better QB play over there and they just find a way to win an ugly divisional game and the 49ers take care of business like we think they will, then they're in. Then they don't have to, play in week 18 unless week 18 means where your position is and how you move. So are they in jeopardy? Sure. But is it a big number? No. And they still should be able to. So let's see. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Again, if the Saints run Ian Book out there with no tackles and no receiver and stuff like that, they're in trouble. They're in deep trouble, man.
You want to answer this?
Ian Book's really bad. We got a chance to watch him in the Senior Bowl, and scouts were laughing on the sideline when we were there in the press credential box. So he would have guys wide open, and he would just tuck it and run. Or if he did throw it, he would throw it right at their feet. Like the scouts were like literally saying out loud in Mobile when we were there last year, "What the hell is this kid doing?" And it's just, again, my eyes didn't lie to me right then. We walked away like, man, he's not good. And a lot of scouts felt that same exact way. So, I mean, do you know that? No, but I'm just saying, like, I had a chance to watch him up close, and he was really bad in that Senior Bowl game. Really, really bad.
Oh, yeah. It's we were seeing guys run drag routes wide open, just wide open. Nearest defender was probably 5 to 10 yards away. In Book, you could see him just stare at him, be like, do I throw this drag route? No, I'm going to go run and pick up 2 yards. So yeah, Ian Book is bad. Trey Lance is way better than him.
I'll tell you this. I feel a little bit bad about what happened to Ian Book this week, right? Because that Miami defense has been playing very well. He lost both of his starting tackles, right? Teron Armstead, that's something that you can't, say, oh, well, that's nobody. No, man, like there's not really many quarterbacks that would have succeeded that way, but it's just what I saw from him. I wasn't impressed. And when he was taken, I was just like, whatever. I just don't think he's that good. But hey, you could prove me wrong.
What Justin said, we saw enough from Trey against undefeated Arizona to know he's better than Book. Yeah,
I think the conversation kind of switches because of how well Davis Mills has been playing. In terms of someone brought this up on one of my shows, and it's a valid point. There is, and we're gonna find out because Trey Lance will be facing him. But as of right now, because Trey Lance has only played one game, there's a world where Davis Mills is the second best rookie quarterback this year out of this draft, right? He's thrown for 300 yards 4 times. Mac Jones is clearly the best right now. Justin Fields is taking his lumps. Zach Wilson hasn't played well. Trevor Lawrence hasn't played well. It's not a stretch to say that at all, that Davis Mills is the second best right now.
I'll say this
year.
His last 3 games, he's thrown for 800 yards, 5 touchdowns with only 1 interception. No rookies, not even Mac Jones, have done that in a 3-game span at any point of this season. Davis Mills has on a bad Houston team. So am I worried about playing the Texans? No.
But he's playing well.
Are they capable? Yeah, any given Sunday. They're definitely capable. They're a lot better than what the Jaguars are. I'll say that much. I actually looked at it. I was like, wow. Ooh, they're a 4-win team. I noticed I have Titans there instead of Texans. Whoops.
Yeah, somebody pointed that out before. But this hurts me the most to say this too, because I wanted so badly for Justin Fields to like say, hey, like I want him to be, obviously he's taking his lumps right now, so I can't say that. I really can't objectively say that. Davis Mills has played better than Justin Fields this year. That does not feel good to say out loud.
No, man. I don't want to talk about that, man.
No.
I love how we do that at least once a show.
Yep. Yeah, Rob was looking at us like, what the hell is you guys doing on this stuff?
So are the 49ers in jeopardy of missing the post? Yeah, sure. It's the reality. They were going, it was a jeopardy to miss the postseason, even if Jimmy Garoppolo did not get injured. Like, it was still a jeopardy. It's the NFL. Nothing's given. It's definitely earned. So, yeah, they're still in jeopardy. No matter if it was Jimmy, the starting quarterback, or Trey, the starting quarterback, that happens because you did not beat the Tennessee Titans on a Thursday. If they did win, I would say, no, they're not in jeopardy at this point, but that's obviously not the reality of the situation. So all they got to do is just go to work. And I think Trey Lance is that type of quarterback. I've heard him since college when he was at Division II, that he was studying NFL defenses on his free time. On his free time, he's studying NFL defenses. So I know one thing that he's going to do is put in the work, study, and prepare himself as much as possible for this game.
Yeah,
Davis
and
Mills was he was the
Davis.
number one pro style out of high school.
Right. So, we'll see. I mean, in terms of everything that's going on with the Texans, the second worst run defense in the league, that certainly bodes well for Trey Lance if he does get to start
Mhm.
with Elijah Mitchell. If Elijah Mitchell plays, then the 49ers should be able to put in a game plan for Trey that'll put him in spots to be successful. Give him some of those, like you called it on your pod, those Jimmy gimmies.
Yep,
Misdirection to the other side, throw to the flat, wide
I'll get
open
into it.
throw. Yeah,
Let's talk about that right now. Then
yeah.
um, I'll just jump to here. What do you want to see differently?
Yeah, the Jimmy gimmies and no more QB powers. Like, don't run this man into the middle of the line. Like, get him some zone reads, get Elijah Mitchell involved. Obviously, Elijah Mitchell was on a pitch count in that Arizona game. George Kittle didn't play. I think Trent Williams was a little bit banged up too. So it's right now with the matchup, and they're not facing the Arizona Cardinals as hot as they were at that time, right? This is the Houston Texans, right? They have the second worst rush defense, played pretty well this week. The Chargers kind of, I would say, probably killed themselves, but hey, that's the nature of the game. But they won that game without Brandon Cooks. That's
Yeah.
crazy, right? And Rex Burkhead, like you said, no disrespect to him, he's an NFL player. Rex Burkhead was out there moving like he was Walter Payton, man. And the Chargers can't stop a nosebleed in terms of run defense. So I just think that right now this is a soft spot for him. But what I want to see is less QB power, more zone read, more layup throws to get him involved. And you play ball control with Jimmy Garoppolo, right? You played ball control with him. And obviously he's more experienced. Play ball control with Trey Lance. Play ball control with him and try to keep that offense on the other side, on the sideline, and do the same thing. I mean, the only thing that they can't run that Jimmy runs is those throws over the middle, those quick timing throws. Right now, that's not something that Trey is equipped to do, and he has plenty of time to learn that. But if you're going to run the ball as many times with Jimmy Garoppolo, who can still make those throws, it's like, man, you better be able to do that right now for Trey Lance and get him those same easy throws on in the flat and some of those wide open shots to down the field. So yeah.
Yeah, I do not believe Burkhead would do that to this 49ers defense.
Nobody thinks that.
Yeah.
No, 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 no,
Yeah,
no, no,
like the
no.
49ers defense last time they gave up a 90-yard rusher was week 9, James Conner, and then the last time they gave up a 100-yard rusher was probably the MVP over there in Indy. So this is what I want to see differently. I'm gonna show this to you. It's gonna be more so in the play calling to in certain type of situations here. I'm gonna share my screen. I have it up.
Okay.
I have it up. So this is Jimmy Garoppolo um versus the Rams. Let me make this full. This is Jimmy Garoppolo versus the Rams in week 6 of 2020. What's something you notice here that pops out to you, Jason?
Middle of the field.
Always. That's where it's always going to be with Jimmy, right? So he's 0 for 2 here in the outside left. Oh, didn't even attempt between the numbers here. And this is on passes, as you can see, 20 plus. Didn't attempt it and didn't attempt it. 10 plus, 0 for 1, 4 or 5, which, that's his bread and butter. 0 for 0, didn't even attempt it. And all these are below 10 yards. So 3 for 3, 7 of 11, 0 for 1. And then look how many are behind the line of scrimmage. 3 for 3, 5 for 5, 1 for 2. That's something I want to see utilized with Trey Lance more than what we saw in his first start. Jimmy Garoppolo has about 100 yards here, 100 passing yards that were attempted beyond the line or behind the line of scrimmage. That's insane. That is literally insane. He's about 4 for 8 on anything higher than 10 yards. And keep in mind, this is week 6 last year of 2020. The 49ers won this game. They beat the number 1 defense in the Los Angeles Rams in this game script. Where Jimmy Garoppolo, anything 10 yards plus, was 4 of 8. And remember, you look at here, so, 106 and a touchdown. Damn, that's solid. Well, yeah, that one touchdown was George Kittle running an in route with man across the board, so there's no high safety. To where he ran an in route, his guy fell down. George Kittle ran for 33 yards after catch and just walked in for the touchdown. I think he put his hand behind his head on that play. So that's where a lot of that yardage came up. 33% of that yardage came on George Kittle's run after the catch on that one reception. But look at this, over 100 yards from passes behind the line of scrimmage. And let me show you Trey. I know this is obviously different than watching the film. It's different than watching the nuances of plays. I'm not going to be ignorant of that. I completely understand it. And let me show you the other one, which is Trey's. I just want to give you a comparison. Obviously, this doesn't show you formation. It doesn't show you motions. It doesn't, it doesn't show a lot of that because it's just a chart. So let's not set it in stone. So, but look at this. Trey Lance, much more less on the attempts behind the line of scrimmage, only 21 yards compared to over 100 that Jimmy was able to get, but a lot more of 10 yards plus with Trey Lance, and I think that's something that could work out a lot better against a Houston Texans team. Trey Lance was actually better beyond 10 yards than Jimmy was. Trey Lance was, I believe it was 6 for 10, so 60% rate. The one interception did hurt him. That's where he oversailed Travis Benjamin for the interception there. And that could have looked a lot better than what it does on paper, because he had a 3rd and 11 that he hit Mohamed Sanu in the chest, and Mohamed Sanu dropped it. So that could obviously, enhance these numbers here. Like I said, it's not the same as watching the plays, watching the film, watching the game. It's not. It's just a brief comparison by looking at the numbers, looking at this kind of designs here. With Trey Lance, he only attempted about 11 passes, 12 passes, under 10 yards. So let's enhance this a little more. Let's get some more play designs that, maybe it's a guy on a play action running a drag route or something. Let's get some, fly sweeps, little pitch passes in there. Let's get some screens. And basically what you said earlier is those Jimmy Gimmies. Let's get some of those going.
Basically, the biggest thing that I took away from looking at these charts is you flexing on me because you have a PFF subscription.
I don't. It's not mine. It's somebody else's.
Why did you why you could have just let it go and just been like, money man, you know what I'm saying? Like you didn't have to like out
no,
yourself.
Man,
right
I'm not paying for that, man.
No, seriously, it's exactly that, right? And that's my thing is you have a guy who is an 8-year veteran and you get these easy throws for him, and then you have a guy who is in his first game and you don't even like get any of those tunnel screens to Deebo Samuel, to Brandon Ayuk, and let them work. And it's like that's the part that kind of frustrated me a little bit. I understand right now that's his first game and he's limited because he's never played NFL football at that level. Get it. Clearly get it. But those same layups that you give for Jimmy Garoppolo, they have to be in there for Trey Lance at this point. And if you are going to use something to gash this run defense, which gives it up at almost 5 yards a clip, zone read with Elijah Mitchell and not QB power into the middle of the line. Like, that's it. Like, this is where they're susceptible. And you can completely keep away the entire time and do what you want to do in this game while protecting Trey and still giving him easy throws. Everybody always wants to say, well, there's no throws that are layups. Yeah, there are. I see them every single week. And they are in this offense. So as long as you're not, again, we put the over under, I believe, at what was it, 15 runs for Trey? Yeah. I'd love to see it at 10-12, efficient. 10-12 for like 85, 90 yards. That would be fine. And those should be zone reads. They shouldn't be designed quarterback runs.
Not power.
They shouldn't be, right. So, yeah. But yeah. Yeah, I mean, you just flexed on me with your damn with your PFF subscription. So, thanks for that. Mr. Broke Boy over here can't afford PFF Elite like Mike McCarthy.
Bang, bang, PF subscription gang.
Tired of the wealth on this show, man. I'm tired of it.
But it's Yeah, no more QB powers, man. That's you want to run it twice a game, all right, I get it. Like, or if you want to run it in certain situations, like on a 4th and inches, like, all right, I get it. But I was rewatching that Cardinals game and I saw a 3rd and 7 in Cardinals territory where Trey Lance ran QB power and he picked up about 5 yards. 4th and 2, QB power. Let's do it again, baby. QB power, do it again. What happens? He gets stopped short. They don't get the first down, turnover on downs. So less of that, little more like I think Jordan showed this out to me. Jordan Elliott. I want to give him the recognition. Is you look at those QB powers, like a lot of it was great designs, like a pre-snap, to work Juice Check was doing one thing or Tebow was doing something, IU, and like it can confuse the defense pre-snap, but it wasn't executing. So when it comes to, pre-snap and execution, I don't really care at that point if it's not executing. But was Kyle Shannon actually doing something good? And he wasn't just telling Trey Lance to run QB power, or he wasn't necessarily doing the same play over and over, even though it looked like the same play over. No, he wasn't. So I wanted to give Jordan Elliott the shout out on that because he's the one who recognized it. Like, oh my, look at this formation. It's a fantastic formation. It just didn't get executed. And something else I would like to see differently is maybe less holding calls that puts Trey Lance behind the 8 ball because I what was it, like
Well,
3 offensive penalties in that second half there to where all of a sudden we're at 1st and 20, 2nd and 20. It was multiple times that was going on.
Well, to be fair, and this is something that we should point out because this is objective. Pass blocking for a guy who wants to get the ball out right away, and pass blocking for a guy who can extend the plays leaves you more
Yeah.
susceptible to the holding calls, right? And
Hmm.
those guys have to get used to blocking for Trey Lance because he can go through everything and then make something happen. Jimmy wants to get the ball out 1-2, boom, like quick. Whether that decision is right or not, you pass block in 2 different ways. You know that you're pass blocking for maybe 2 seconds. Yeah, exactly, Joey. I'm tired of this guy. I'm never doing a show with this guy again, man. I'm getting him out of here. But you pass block for 2 seconds with Jimmy Garoppolo. Now you have to pass block for 4 or 5 seconds, and that gets harder and harder. And that's where you start to see those holding calls. So that is something to keep an eye on, right? Yeah.
I'll agree with that. I agree. QB power can be very successful. It was just used too much. I agree with that. Like I said, Jordan Elliott, was spot on with it. It was saying, "Hey, look at this pre-snap formation. Like this is a fantastic call by Kyle Shanahan. It just didn't get executed." And I think partially it was just because it was utilized a little too much there, um, for my own personal liking within an offense, NFL offense at least. But
That'll
yeah, that
show you,
was
Leo.
yeah. Um, whose hat? Whose hat? Whose hat? I hope you're saying my hat. I hope so. I'll get
I
closer
mean,
to the
you're a
camera.
Padres fan, though.
Stop the cap.
What?
Literally.
You stop the cap. I don't make me. Don't make
Make
me.
you what?
Dip into the archives and throw it on the timeline, man. You don't want that war again, right? Like we got pictures of each other that are, that can, sway. You don't want to do the meme war. Yeah, that's not what you're trying to do.
So, anyways, anyways, anyways. What's something you want to see from Trey Lance himself? I know we've talked here a little bit about the designs, possibly having Elijah Mitchell back, the difference within the nuances of the offensive line in terms of protection, QB power. I've spent about 20 minutes talking about that. What's something you want to see from Trey Lance? Not necessarily the system.
Poise, just a little bit more of some of the stuff that I saw in preseason in terms of his progressions, which I feel like he does go through. He just needs to go through them a little bit faster. But poise, command that huddle. Look like the guy that everybody said was mature and everything as well. You have a lot of time to install this game plan for him. If he is going to start, we should have that caveat right there. I mean, he did. I mean, here's the thing, David. Jimmy Garoppolo missed Kyle Juszczyk. That was a coverage bust.
Mm-hmm.
Trey Lance didn't miss Debo on the coverage bust against Seattle, right? So, I mean, in terms of that, if he's going to be wide open like that on coverage bust, Trey can kind of hit that, right? Like that throw to Juice, it wasn't just missed in that one game. Right, there you go. It wasn't just missed in that one game. It was missed in the Rams game where you see Kyle throw his hands down. Nick Mullins missed it in the Eagles game last year. So, I mean, I think he has. I want to see the poise, and I want to see a little bit more from what I saw in that Chargers game. Maybe a little bit more up tempo in certain spots, right? Like at the end of the half, don't play so cautious, right? Get Trey in some advantageous looks and try to be a little bit more aggressive with him as long as he isn't, erratic or anything like that, or he's just missing his targets. Like he seems to be better, especially when we were at the Chargers game, right, in LA. When he struggled a little bit, threw an interception, and then when they put him in the up tempo, he was boom hitting Sherfield, hitting Benjamin, and then he went 1-2, held the safety, and then goes right over the middle to Benjamin. So in situations going to dictate when the 49ers do that. But I want to see poise. I want to see a little bit more from the progressions that I kind of saw in that game, where he was able to at least hold the safety for a split second before he could make a throw to Travis Benjamin. And maybe at the half, put your foot on the gas pedal a little bit, man. So Isaac, these are the real questions. I have Debo and Kittle in the fantasy football championship. What's their outlook? As always, great job. You're not benching Debo Samuel. There's no way in hell. And you're not benching George Kittle, right? Nope. You have to play them at this point. Dance with the girl that you brought to the dance. And I think that at this point, they're going to manufacture what they're going to manufacture for Debo. You got no questions about that. It's, can George Kittle get hit a little bit further downfield by Lance? And I think that that's what you'll see a little bit here. I don't think that the Texans are going to be capable to bracket him in the way that the Titans did, because it wasn't like Bayer just locked him up one-on-one. So I would roll them both with confidence. I'm in my home league, my big money league, and I have Kittle and Kelsey. I'm rolling both, one in the tight end, one in the flex. So I'm with you. Let's roll.
Yeah, like I'm not even going to comment because I'm not in fantasy championship this year. I got it booted way too early. Derrick Henry, thank you. I'm kidding. I'm not going to be that guy.
You are that guy. You are that guy, pal. You are that guy.
What I want to see from Trey Lance is basically what you alluded to. Is I want to see him settle in, but sooner. From what his first snap on offense, and we all talk about Jimmy and his high passes. Trey Lance has a tendency to do that as well. And he does, from what I've seen during the preseason, what I've seen when we went to the camp with the Chargers and the 49ers in that joint practice there, is that it did take him a little bit of time to wind up and start to lock in and play at a high level that he is capable of. So I want to see that at a sooner than later, especially in week 18 versus the Rams. You definitely got to do that sooner than later. So while we say Jimmy oversales his guys a lot, Trey Lance was doing that quite a bit as well. So I'd like to see less of that, settle in a little more, hit guys in the chest. And that could have been, the ball sailing over his receivers could have been the injury that we've talked about, or that Shanahan's talked about with Trey Lance. So we'll see if that has anything to do with it. But I would like to see just him settle in more and not look like he's nervous. That's what it looked like first few series against the Arizona Cardinals, that he was just a little nervous of, man, this is my first start, mommy and daddy in the crowd. Oh man, you got a lot of Niner fans out here. This time it's a home game. You're not traveling at all. Wherever you're staying, whether it's I don't know where he's staying, an apartment, is he staying at a hotel like Robbie Gold, which I don't understand why. Is he saying, did he buy a house? Like wherever he's staying at, he's going to sleep there like he does on a normal basis. He's not getting on a plane and flying somewhere. So that's a positive thing with it. And if he could settle in, I think that the sky's the limit for this kid, because he could do it all. He has a deep game. He has a quick release than what people want to give him, just because it's not a Jimmy Garoppolo quick release. He could make any throw on the field, and the guy got wheels. He's a 5-tool football player.
Dude, and the first play of the game, Mike McGlinchey gets beat. I mean, or I think it was Brunskill that got beat right away. He had like a free rusher. Oh no, what happened was they missed the protection, right? Like they had it blocked up 5-on-5, right? The first play of the game, 5-on-5, and the protection slid, and all of a sudden the Chandler Jones, you might want to block that guy, had a free rush at Trey Lance. Trey Lance had to take off, and guess what? He turned it into 12 yards, right? And that's sort of the stuff that people want to see in terms of when things are not perfect, he can make it happen, right? And I think that, probably was a little bit nervous too, but there was also some things that were going on in terms of, we didn't like the way that game was called in terms of play call, but also literally the first play of the game, Chandler Jones is the guy that you're like, okay, where is he? There he is. And then you're just like, maybe you want to block that guy. And all of a sudden, Lance takes off. So I want to give a shout out real quick to Debo Samuel fan, because he was the one who was on the show that was talking with me about Davis Mills. That was a great call. And I'm glad that you brought that up, because it is true. I think you do need to talk about Davis Mills as the second best quarterback this year behind Mac Jones when you look at how all the other quarterbacks are progressing. So shout out to him, man. And and then he totally called it before the Sunday game. He played well in that game as well too. So I believe he has 4 300-yard games, and I think that all of the rookies combined have 3. That's crazy. And that was without Brandon Cook. So you know what, man? Good call, man. And it's nice to know that we have some really educated fans, because we do. The chat has been lit, and everybody's been making great points as well too. So yeah, absolutely, man.
We actually have a comical comment here from my father.
Mike Luna. That's your dad?
That's my dad.
Hi, Papa Luna.
It's sad to say Jimmy G is not a franchise QB, great backup, and best trade him to Tampa Bay. Was rooting for him, but hey, Niner Empire has to move on. I get it. I get the comedy in there by letting him be Tom Brady's backup. But my dad was ready for Trey Lance weeks ago. Wow. He was ready for Trey Lance.
So I think I told this on another pod that I did or something like that. But real quick, I'll tell the story real fast, because my dad Thursday, obviously, my dad's not into football as much as he used to be, right? My father, old school Puerto Rican cat. It's always been baseball first, and then what other sports. Kind of fell off with football. Me, I couldn't stop. I just wanted to keep learning. But it's funny because I text him, is it normal to feel nervous for Lance? A little. I wouldn't feel too nervous, but so I text my father and I said, hey, are you watching? Oh, there we go. Christopher's got it. So Mills has 3 300-yard games, and all the other rookie quarterbacks have 4 combined. I think that's great, actually. Christopher, thank you for pointing that out. But so I text my dad and I said, hey, are you gonna watch the game tonight? And he's like, what game? I'm like, the 49ers play on Thursday Night Football. You're home almost Christmas. And he's like, oh shit, I'll definitely check that out. And I know that this sucks to talk about right now because the guy's injured or whatever, but my father hasn't watched very many 49ers games unless he's here watching with me or we're linked up and we're watching it. But he texts me at halftime and he's like, dude, why is this guy so inconsistent up and down, man? And it's like he got to that conclusion that many of us have had watching Jimmy Garoppolo play football. It just took him one half to watch. And he just, when the game was over, he was like, my goodness, man. He was like, what? He's just like, what was that guy doing in this game? And I was just like, damn, Dad. I was like, chill. I was like, it's just one game, whatever. But it was so funny how my dad, who put me on game with the 49ers, he came to that conclusion pretty quickly. So
yeah, well, what'd you make me watch, Jay?
Yeah, he was like, oh man. He's like, why'd you remind me? He's like, what's up with this guy, man? He makes a great play here, and then all of a sudden he's like overthrowing somebody, and I was just like, welcome to the Jimmy Garoppolo experience, Dad.
It's basically me in beer league softball, adult softball. I'm either going to go yard and hit a home run, or it's going to be a pop-up just straight in the air to the shortstop.
You got to level that swing off.
Dude, I've tried, but yeah, I'd want to go yard every single time. It's beer league softball. I want to go yard every time. I don't want a live drive home run. I want a straight hanger going over the fence. That's what I want.
I'd make you run laps if I was the coach. Or every time you pop up, you got to do push-ups.
Raymond said, does everybody's dad say that? Mine was saying the same thing.
I'm telling you, Ray, my dad hasn't watched any games. Like, if he comes over and he kicks it with me and we watch a game, that's fine. And usually that's not been happening this year, obviously, because of me doing the post-game show and stuff like that. Like, I don't watch football games with anybody but myself. But that, it's just funny that my dad doesn't watch very many games. And he was just like, yeah, so.
I want you to go, because you're a Shanna stan, you're an only Shan, you're a Shanna fan, whatever it is. Darius says, I'm more nervous about Kyle's coaching than Lance's performance. No Wildcat offense. Shaking my head. So I wanted you to give some optimism on why Kyle can basically enhance the best out of Trey Lance.
Darius, I want to say that this is very much a legit concern. But I'm going to stand behind Coach and hope that he learned what he learned from the Arizona game. And this matchup presents places for him to run the ball very well, do what he's done with Jimmy Garoppolo in terms of play ball control, right? And I think it was Red Eye who pointed out in the comments, and I think it's spot on. Very similar to the Rams game plan of we're just going to bully you. And I think that this opponent presents that, and I think that Kyle's going to take care of that. But that's a very legitimate concern because we obviously did not like what we saw in that Arizona game. And I think that also after that first interception, Kyle got a little nervous. And that happens. That's a criticism I have of him too. If Jimmy seems a little off, it's like, all right, man, we're dialing everything back. We're going to take this out of the playbook. We're taking this out of the playbook. I'm not running this. I don't feel comfortable doing this, you know. So sometimes that can be with, but I sometimes feel like Kyle kind of goes into a shell a little bit in that way. So I think this is a really good concern, but I just have to hope that he has learned and he sees the matchup on paper and is able to take advantage.
This is fair.
That's a good point too.
This is
very
fair.
good point too. Very good point too.
Because it seemed like if Kyle Shanahan had it his way, this would be a redshirt year for Trey Lance. And now that it looks like Trey Lance is going to be the guy, maybe we see a different offense for Trey Lance and not the same. I would call it vanilla against Arizona, not that vanilla preseason style offense that we saw week 5. Maybe it's more enhanced than that. And I would not be shocked because, like Philip said here, it's one of Kyle Shanahan doesn't want to give any hints on what a Trey Lance could look like within this offense. And plus, the way that Arizona game was going, the 49ers were in it for a long time and had chances to win it on top of that. So it's it's a fair comment to say. One last thing I want to say here is actually let's get to a super chat. We got Steven.
7.
Before 7. Jeez, look at me. Before Super Bowl 54, I said I'm sure Shanahan's learned from Super Bowl 51. So
dude, Roman numerals? I would have just said LIV.
Well, I just put it together. It was the 49ers were in it, so it was 54.
Oh, because L is 50, right?
Yeah, L is 50.
Oh. Well, that's fair. 7, that's fair. But what I'll point out about the Super Bowl thing is it took an entire team to blow that one. There were a lot of missed blocks. There were guys running the wrong route. Jimmy Garoppolo wasn't exactly sharp. Chris Jones blew up the game. Obviously, 3rd and 15. So it took a lot to get there. Kyle shares some of the blame as well, too, for not calling as many runs. So it's not all on Kyle, but I understand the sentiment. You know, when you watch, unfortunately, I think that the best way for everybody to look at this one is if you JT O'Sullivan, as 49er fans do, and I think that what he does right now in terms of content is great. Yep. I think you should check out his video on the fourth quarter, just specifically the fourth quarter, and I think he breaks it down very well in terms of the route combinations on some of them led Kendrick Bourne and Debo into the same place and into 2 guys. Blocks were missed on runs that Mostert had a daylight. George Kittle could have been hit over the middle, but Chris Jones knocked the pass down. So it was like a perfect storm of circumstances that led to that. But Kyle doesn't escape blame from that either. So it was everything in that way. I wouldn't say that Kyle's the one who kicked that one away.
Yeah, I think Shanahan. I think that's fair. Plays were left out there to be made. They just weren't executed. It wasn't necessarily, I would say, Shanahan's play calling in that situation. Saludos from Mexico. Great show. Gracias, Martin. Vamos. Describe in one word. Starting to feel like 2012. Remember when Colin Kaepernick replaced Alex Smith due to injury, and this guy with basically no playoff experience rode this team into the playoffs and to an NFC championship. Does this kind of feel like that in terms of a reset button with the quarterback that can potentially do more behind the center? Does it feel like that?
Not yet. And it can't feel like that right now. And here's why. There's more wiggle room in terms of what Colin had to work with. It wasn't a must-win game that he had to be in. And let's just face it, the Bears were an inferior opponent in that game. Jason Campbell was the starter. Aldon Smith was a one-man wrecking crew in that game. But Colin lit it up. But it wasn't a win-and-end situation. I can't say that it feels like 2012 until I see Trey Lance play at somewhat of the level that Colin did. I think that there's a lot of optimism that people want to have in terms of it feeling like that, because there's the whole, well, there's been nothing on film. Defenses haven't really had a chance to prepare for him. And, he could take the league by storm in a few games. That's a fine sentiment to have. But I can't say that that's going to feel like 2012 until I see Trey Lance play in this game at least. So I understand that. That's optimistic. That is a possibility, but it's hard for me to get on board with that. Yeah, I mean, all right, here's a good point about this. You could feel more optimistic about this because Trey Lance presents the unknown. And we know that when guys go out there in their first few starts, teams struggle to take care of what they do well and giving looks and things like that. It takes them a little while. If there's not enough film, they can struggle. That's a fine sentiment. That's a fine sentiment right there to have. So feeling optimistic about the unknown, that's fine. I completely get that. And I think that that's what a lot of 49er fans are holding on to. Realistically, what I want to say about this whole Trey Lance thing is this. What I want to see in these two games is growth in one way or the other, meaning him ascending and him looking like the guy. And I know that that's hard to say because it's only his second and third starts if it does come to that. But what I mean by that is wins, losses, obviously everybody wants to win. And I put this out there yesterday and a lot of people were like, oh, you're already making excuses. No. What I mean by this is this. This is his second start ever. You still need to contextualize it and look at it as this is Trey Lance's second start. It just happens to be in a must-win game. No pressure, Rook. No pressure. But at the same point, the same way that everybody was anointing Mac Jones the next coming of Tom Brady after 8 weeks, well, Mac Jones has played not so well the last few weeks. So in the same way that you can't use that body of work to say this is what he's going to be, is the same way that you can't trash Mac Jones because he's kind of struggling a little bit. So, yeah, I mean, it's just I want to contextualize that, and I want to make sure that people view his performance under the correct lens. Because if you're expecting Trey Lance to just come out there and light the world on fire and not have any bumps and bruises regardless of the opponent, I feel like that's not fair. It's still his second start. You have to hope that he's grown a little bit and that finger is a little bit more healed. But I think that this whole, what I don't know about Trey is more exciting about what I know than Jimmy Garoppolo. I think that's a fine sentiment. I really do think that is.
Trey-offs, baby.
That's really cool. I like that, and I hope that happens. I hope that happens so I can, use that as pass it off as my own Rocky Mountain Razorback. I'm just letting you know. We start making T-shirts. I'll bust you off a little bit, son.
So this is fair. What Ben said. Colin was 24. Trey is 21. Colin was also year 2 into the system. Trey is year 1 into the system. So that's definitely fair when you look at it that way. And we'll see. And that's kind of why Harbaugh made the move at the time. It's just because it was also year 2 for Colin, not just year 1. He was more grown, more mature within the system than what Trey Lance is right now. But something I'll look at it is a comment earlier here saying that having more hope for Trey Lance in the playoffs than Jimmy. It's because when looking at it, the past 3 road games, Seahawks, Bengals, and the Titans, the 49ers put up 10 points in the second half. 10 points. And that's through 6 quarters. 6 quarters, 10 points. On the road, their last 3 road games. Where are the playoffs going to be, Jason? I know it's a huge, huge question here. Where are they going to be?
On the road?
On the road. Ding, 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 ding. So the playoffs are on the road. So it's like, did I necessarily trust a Jimmy Garoppolo-led team on the road in the playoffs, essentially in the second half? Not really. So it's just maybe something new is nice. It's anything could be in a mystery box. It could even be a road win in the mystery box. So
solid Family Guy reference. I love it.
So we'll see what happens with this 49ers team. With Trey Lance now here at the helm. Brad Graham said he was going to make playoff or Trey-off shirts too. So beat him.
He stole that idea from me. I don't care. I just came up with it first. I don't care what he said.
Not Rocky Mountain Razorback. Nope.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to yell at him tomorrow when we do our show.
Is there any last things? Hey, Luke here. I've seen you here in the comment quite a bit, and I think you have a fantastic last name. I've been wanting to say that.
I was going to say that's your cousin. Your pops was in here. Now your cousin's in here.
No, I wish it was my cousin.
Might be.
Maybe. Who knows? Long lost, right?
We're all Hispanic, man. We're all related one way or another.
One way or another. Eskimo brothers, same thing.
Oh, Jesus. Where did that come from?
I have no idea. SoFi isn't really a road game. LA fans don't care. Fractured bunch amongst many teams. Yeah,
we were there at that game. It was all Niners fans.
It was all Niners fans. But that was the Chargers.
Oh, that's true.
Chargers don't
Oh,
really
that's
have
true.
fans. They
That's
don't.
true.
They don't.
Yeah. No.
Even when they were San Diego and I live here, they didn't really have fans.
They got Padre fans. They got Leo Luna, season ticket holder.
Stop. God.
Problem? Issue?
No, man.
Yes, man.
No. Giants all the way. Shout out to all the Hispanics out here. Woo, woo. Yep, I feel it. No, but I love our initials are the same. He's Irish and Scottish. What?
That's cool. I didn't know that. Man.
Okay.
I appreciate Luke, man. He's always pulling up and showing love, man. Everybody in here has pretty much been like that too. So, I can't see offhand how many people we have in here right now, but hour 10, I think this is a good place to cap it because it's already bedtime, I think, for my little one. And
yep. For you, because you're potty training so that you could get off the diapers, right? According to the Twitter comments.
Oh yeah, it's me. I just haven't had time. All this content that's been going on. Like I was trying when we were in Mobile and everything, and it wasn't.
I remember you were heated because you forgot your diapers.
Exactly.
Back in New York, so we
had to go buy some more. Had to go buy some more, B. But
I was like, are you dead ass?
I'm dead ass, always dead ass. And then when I was yelling about Stafford being traded, I grew Tim's while we were talking. Like it happened.
You did. Like Tim's came out of nowhere. Like you were in the slides. Stafford got traded. You were mad, and then you were wearing Tim's with the Yankee hat. I was lost. Like I didn't know what emotion to feel at that point. I was mad too, but then I was confused at the same. It's wild, man. I gotta. When am I going to New York, man? When am I going to New York?
When are you going to New York, man? Let's go.
Got to be soon. It's got to be
very soon.
But
yeah, for everybody who's in here, let me just do it real quick. For everybody in here, like the video, subscribe to both channels, hit the notification bell so you know when we go live. A lot more content this week from all of us. Me and Leo are going to do this, once a week, and the content doesn't stop in the off season. Senior Bowl credentials, all that stuff. We're going back to Mobile. We'll be looking for those second and third round gems, second Dave guys, because we know the 49ers don't have a first round pick. So appreciate everybody who comes in. Yeah. I appreciate everybody who comes in here and is showing love week after week, and all the new people, man. It really means a lot. And this is an exciting time for 49ers fans. Be excited. Be excited.
Be excited. It's new. It's something new. So whatever happens is just, understand that's limited data. We don't have 4 years of data. We don't have 3 years, not even 2 years. We'll only have 2 games of data. So hopefully that this Texans game just makes you believe that Trey Lance is an immediate gold jacket. That's kind of what I prefer after watching this Texans game. We'll see. We'll hold the judgment on either side of the spectrum. Let's go Niners. Let's go out and win this thing. Let's get to 9 wins now, 2 games above 500 once again, like we were last week at this time. So once again, hit the like, hit the subscribe, comment down below, share to your friends, share to your family, invite them to the next show into the comment section. That'll be fun. Make it a family affair. We'll talk with you then. Go Niners.